Good morning. This is Matthew Mickey, and I will be doing my wargaming for Wednesday, December 17th. All right, so starting off on the daily chart, we see that we're testing this previous month 50%. We're below NFP Friday, so there's no edge to the upside or downside. We just expect volatility to expand. Now, from a candle science, we're going to take what price did on Monday and Tuesday and put it in. So we see that. Right? Monday was bearish, Tuesday was bullish, closed green, took out the previous day low, but closed above the close, and we've already touched the open and price from yesterday. So just like we discussed at 1600 yesterday, what the probabilities were today, right? We see that the high has a higher probability of being taken out from previous day, right? We definitely can see that we have a possibility of closing above it, right? And so where, right? So coming over here, we can see that at our 30th percentile level for reversals is at 0.43. We're going to start at previous day high because that's where C2 is. 0.43, take our price range tool, start a green box, right? And we're going to draw it up to the 50th percent of the median, which is at 0.70. So we know that this is the highest probable reversal zone right here on the daily chart. And we're going to draw a new box from the 70th, the 50 to the 70th percentile of reversals, which is at 1.2, right? So we know that this is a probability, but it's not the highest probability to where we put the high of the day in. I want to make that box red, right? So we know we can, since we've taken out this high, from this high to this green box, only 30% of the data reversed before hitting the bottom part of this green box. And then by the midpoint, where the green and the red meet, 50% of the data reversed before hitting that, and then the 70% of the data reversed before hitting the top of this red box. So that's our realistic expectations for the day, right? We talked very in detail yesterday about a possible low of the week being put in, right? And we know why, and we know what targets we're shooting for, right? This 80% level is the first target, right? Well, first target is closing outside of the Sunday 18 to 1930 range, right? To take out this high, to lock in the low of the week, et cetera, right? We know we still have some decisions from the weekly standpoint to be made, right? So we're not just going to put it all on green, right? So coming over to the daily, the intraday chart, right? We can see that we had trend up. The Tokyo markets bought it up, and the London markets bought it up. So we know we have some levels that will have high probability of retracement, right? Um, but we do know that as we go into our wargaming, we know that Asia was long true none. London, as it sits, is long true broken, and we haven't broken out of that 730 to 830 box in any way, right? We know that there's only four possibilities that us breaking out of this box can do, right? It can break out and by 1130 not take out this high. So that's scenario one, or it can break out to the downside and then take out that high. Or the third is it can break out and keep going to the upside and not maybe take out this low by 1130, or the last scenario, take out this low by 1130. Right? Since it hasn't broken out in any direction yet, we're going to plan for all four scenarios. Right now, I see that the low of the day is at 1905 with a 0.27 movement away from Globex Open and a 0.7750. So our first job is to figure out which one of those makes sense and which one of them doesn't make sense. Right? So looking at all four possible scenarios, we can see that this is our low of the day time. For a long true, it supports that low of the day that currently is in, and it does not support the current high of the day, right? We can see for a long false, that low of the day is supported by data, but the high of the day isn't supported. For a short true, that low of the day isn't supported, but the high of the day is supported. And for a short falls, the low of the day is supported, but the high of the day is not supported. So we know that 3 of the 4 supports this low of the day, right? That's right here, right? And that you can expect a new high of the day. Right, so now the next thing we're gonna do, right, is figure out, right, true versus false. Well, let's figure out what levels look great no matter which way it goes, right? So coming over to the profiler, right, we can see that Asia OU gets hit 66% of the time. The secondary mode is at 9:30 to 9:45, right? So that's at a level. We can see that P12 mid has not been hit, so let's go see what the probability of that is. Right, we can see that the previous day mid gets hit 93% of the time, no matter what 4 of the scenarios it wants to play. And the mode is between 9:30 and 9:45, right? Then we can see that the P12 high gets hit more times than the low gets hit. I believe we've already hit that. Yeah, so we've looked above, we've advertised above P12 high and rejected it. So, right, that's a clue, right? So we know that we're expecting it to the highest probability based off of all the data is to come to P12 mid, which is what settlement is in net, or it can come to Asia OU where midnight is in net, or if this is the high of the day, it will just sell off and blow through all of these and not net, right? But that this high, low day is pretty concrete in 3 of the 4 scenarios, right? So now let's go look up settlement and midnight, since those are next to key levels. Right, we can see that settlement has a 55, a pretty mediocre, state of being returned to. We can see midnight has a typical 73% probability between 8 and 11, 12 of being retraced, with the mode being from 9:30 to 9:45. Right, on a Wednesday, we can see that settlement fill increases to 69%, and that 25% level or 50% level or 75% level all increase. Right, but if we don't hit these levels by 10, 15, like the likelihood of us hitting them are dropping by the minute. All right, we've already taken out previous day high, we've already touched previous day mid, so right now I'm gonna go through the 4-step reversal, right? And if we see this, we can start anchoring cash fund shorts to these P12 mid and possibly Asia OU and midnight. If we don't see this reversal, we have to stay in longs, right? From a distribution standpoint, we can see that Asia's overspent, London did it to the tick, right? And that we can anticipate New York 1 to overspend because volatility, aka the range, is expanding. Realize volatility is expanding. So at 9:30, we're going to be looking for something called a 4-step reversal. This is going to represent the 9 o'clock candle. This represents the high, the mid, and the low. And this next candle is going to represent the 9:30 1-minute candle, right? So this would be the high of 9:30. This would be the mid. This would be the low, right? So no matter which way we break out, right, we know that momentum from a daily, from a 12-hour, from a 4-hour, from a 3-hour, from a 1-hour is all up. So for us to try to take these levels to the downside, we know we are reversing. And the biggest kryptonite to young traders is trying to do trend-like risk positions and profiles and position sizes in a reversal market. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a systematic checklist that we teach in the boot camp to actually lock in this is a major pivot or reversal, right? Step 1, can we get below 9:30 low, right? Step 2, can we get below 9 o'clock's 50%? Step 3, can 10 o'clock get below 9 o'clock's low? And then can we make a Q1 instat high at 10 o'clock with an 05 break to the downside, right? Doesn't mean that's when you have to start taking the trade. As most reversal trades, you should start probing position size at the top, and then if you get all 4 steps, you game on to leech off of this major pivot for the rest of the day, right? Or the next 3 hours, right? Right? So at that point, once you complete the 4 steps, you can start adding to any positions that you started here, right, in the reversal, and you can start turning on trend models to the downside. So we'll be looking for that. If we cannot do those 4 steps, we will continue to buy dips and trade to the upside towards these targets up here on the daily chart. But that's my game plan, right? Hopefully this was helpful. So I can give you the 2 decision points. I gave you 4, the 4 possible outcomes that can happen between 8:30 and